Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakahak Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. And I'm going to start it off with an article from the JerusalemPost.com titled, Iran, Russia, Cooperation Reaches New Levels. Analysis says, Russia is now focused on the region of the Middle East. Iran is backing proxies to attack Israel. And hey, this is end times biblical prophecy taking place right before your very eyes. This is Ezekiel chapter 38. I'm going to start at verse 1. And the header reads, prophecy about Gog and future invasion of Israel. And Gog is one of the biblical names for Russia. And, these Russian Edomites, or so-called white people, are going to go against the state of Israel, against those Amalekite Edomites, the 1948ers. Hey, along with Iran, and on the side of the 1948ers is going to be the United States and the other NATO nations. And that's ultimately going to be the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the War of Armageddon, in Joel chapter 3, the main part of World War 3. Ezekiel 38:1, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, Russia, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And that's the Most High putting that old confrontational Soviet Union spirit back onto these Russian Edomites, which we can clearly see the other week. You had Russia do that retaliatory missile strike into Ukraine when Ukraine used those U.S. and Britain-made long-range missiles into Russia. And you're having calls on both sides saying that this is the beginning of World War III, and it's going to intensify. And these Russian Edomites are going to show those bear claws even more. And I will bring thee forth and all thine army, their military hardware, horses and horsemen, tanks and jeeps and other vehicles, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, soldiers with assault rifles, grenades, rocket launchers, artillery pieces, fighter jets, helicopters, anything you can think of. And they're ultimately being gathered down into where? The so-called Middle East, Western Asia, for the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. And remember what that first paragraph in that article said, that Russia is focusing its attention on the region of the Middle East. Verse 5, Persia, which is the ancient name for Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And Russia currently has a relationship with all these nations, especially through the BRICS. Gomer, which is speaking of Turkey and all his bands, because at some point, Turkey is going to completely abandon the West and NATO and fully ally themselves with Russia, which, Turkey, is eyeing BRICS as well. The horses of Togarmah of the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, her allies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Russia and all her allies, Russia being a guard unto them, and them fighting against the West, the U.S. and Israel and these NATO nations during World War III, the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. And this article on Slovakia. Yes. Let me see if I can find it again. This article wasn't having any issues before I started this lesson, but hey, what can you do? But as we can see, Iran, Russia cooperation reaches new levels. Persia, Gog, be thou a guard unto them. Russia is now focused on the region of the Middle East. Iran is backing proxies to attack Israel. Russia's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Andrei Rudenko, spoke this week about a comprehensive partnership between Russia and Iran. The report was published in both Russian state media, TASS, and also Iran's state media, IRNA. This reflects how much both countries want to see this partnership increase. Concerning the contents of the mentioned founding document, I would elect not to disclose details earlier. I would only note it will meet challenges and requirements of our time and cover almost all current and promising spheres of Russian-Iranian cooperation, including defense and security, Rudenko said. Again, be thou prepared, and all thy company that is unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. The strategic document is important for Russia and Iran. Russia sees it as all-encompassing. This is important as a new U.S. administration is coming to office, and there may be new U.S. outreach to try to end the war in Ukraine and new pressure on Iran. The agreement on comprehensive strategic partnership is called to become the most important stage in developing bilateral relations. The document will cover all the spheres of bilateral cooperation, with energy, industry, transport, and agriculture among them, Russia's TASS said this week. Russia is now focused on the region of the Middle East. Hey, I will put hooks into thy jaws and turn thee back and gather thyself and all thy company. Iran is backing proxies to attack Israel. Russia benefits from this regional chaos. Reports say Russia may even want to recruit Houthis from Yemen now for its war in Ukraine. And we'll have to see about that. This article is on, the Jerusalem Post, so there is a bias to it. Russia has also deployed North Koreans, reports say. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian may visit Russia, according to Iranian media. He last met Russia's president at a BRICS summit in October. The Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement is set to become an important milestone in Russian-Iranian relations. The document will apply to all areas of bilateral cooperation. And, we just read that. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, the Iranian media reported that Iran's navy is also increasing its capabilities. Iran also said this week it is exporting gas to Iraq, and it has sent medical volunteers to Lebanon. Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin spoke with Turkish leader Gomer Recep Tayyip Erdogan this week. Putin and Erdogan met on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia, on October 23rd. At that time, they discussed prospects for developing trade and economic ties, as well as a project to create an international gas hub in Turkey, Russian state media added. But hey, it's going to take on that military dimension as well. But that's it with this article. Let's get back to these precepts. Verse 8, in Ezekiel 38, after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. And this isn't talking about, the true children of Israel back in the land. the true children of Israel being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This is talking about those Amalekite Edomites who appointed that land into their possession, as it says in Ezekiel 36, verse 5, laying the groundwork with the Balfour Declaration and then further submitting the deal after World War II. And then, they've been dwelling in there ever since. And, up until recently, they've been dwelling safely because they had, technology more advanced than their neighbors. And they ultimately had the United States of America backing them up. But since we're on the cusp of the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, they're starting to get touched. And hey, they're going to get touched even more by that bear. Verse 9, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee, Persia or Iran, Gomer or Turkey. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, attacking Israel and attacking the United States of America. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. And this verse on the one hand is talking about America and the land of Israel. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. It didn't like the ancient world where you had those walls with the watchmen blowing the trumpets. They have, David's slingshot and the Iron Dome and, these other missile defense systems. But, the Most High's put the spirit on those Russian Edomites to create, those hypersonic missiles and other advanced weapons technologies, which I can't remember who said it. Oh, I think it might have been Scott Ritter, but he said, what Russia has right now in terms of missile technology is 40 years advance compared to what America has. So, hey, those that are dwelling safely in America and Israel, hey, they're about to get that hard wake-up call to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited. And, the land of Israel is desolate right now. It's a desert type environment. And those Amalekite Edomites have to ship in water and trees and other natural amenities. The land isn't flourishing because the rightful owners aren't living there. And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which, those Amalekite Edomites came from where? Mainly Central and Eastern Europe and other parts around the world into the Holy Land. And now that things have been intensifying there with Iran, and Hezbollah and Hamas, you got a lot of those Amalekite Edomites that have dual citizenship leaving and going back to their countries of origin. And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. So, hey, as Russia and Iran's relationship continues to get tighter and tighter, hey, they're eventually going to have that evil thought and come against Israel, come against the United States of America. And like I've been saying throughout the video, it's ultimately going to play into the bigger battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the War of Armageddon. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, the heathen Gentiles. Prepare war. World War III, war with Iran, the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Russia focusing more on the Middle Eastern region. The United States bringing more military assets into that region as well to protect the 1948ers. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. And as we just read in that article, Iran said that their navy is becoming much more militarily capable. And with Iran doing their first ever military, missile strikes onto Israel, recently, hey, the weak is saying they're strong, because that would have never happened, a couple of decades ago, but they know that they've got the bear, Gog, being a guard unto them. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, the United States of America, Russia, the state of Israel, Iran, China, Turkey, the NATO nations, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh's Shaphat, or Yahweh's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And when you read a first couple of verses up in this chapter, you'll see the ultimate reason why these heathens are getting gathered down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, to be judged for afflicting the true children of Israel, especially you Edomites. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. And we can see that with each passing day, we're getting closer and closer to the day of the Lord in the valley of decision taking place. And it will go nuclear. This is Revelation chapter 20. I'm going to start at verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. And this isn't talking about the spiritual demon Satan. This is talking about the Edomites, who are, because Satan means adversary, who are the adversaries of the children of Israel and ultimately the Most High. And them being loosed after 1,000 years was, them coming out of, that low estate, coming out of captivity after the medieval period, the Dark Ages, begin with the Renaissance or their rebirth, them rebirthing that Roman way back into the world, coming back into power. And now, we're in the culmination of it. This NATO EU system that the U.S. is a part of and at the head of, the reincarnated Roman Empire, which are those iron toes mixed with miry clay in Daniel chapter 2, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, the ends of the earth, which we can see these Edomites have deceived the world through their pseudoscience and technology. They push this evolutionary, atheistic mindset onto the people. They discredit the Bible, and they've hidden who the true children of Israel are, and they've hidden their true identity as being Edomites by calling themselves white, European, American, Russian, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, which we know is Russia, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. These heathen nations being gathered down into the valley of Jehoshaphat for the day of decision of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Verse 9, and they went up on the breadth of the earth, speaking of Russia or Gog, and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. And a camp is where you stay at. So, this is talking about the land of Israel, which, as we read back in Ezekiel 38, they're going to get that evil thought to go against, the land of Israel with those Amalekite Edomites in it. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them, those nuclear missiles, because remember what we read back in Ezekiel 38, verse 3. I'll start at verse 2. Remember, the Most High is using Russia to fulfill biblical prophecy, but that doesn't mean that the Most High favors Russia or Gog. They're just a tool. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So the Most High is going to bring those Russian Edomites against those Amalekite Edomites and gather all these different nations down into the valley of Jehoshaphat for the battle in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And then at the same time, nuclear missiles are going to hit the land of Israel. They're going to get wiped out. them troops are going to get, wiped out. And the nuclear missiles are also going to hit the United States of America and turn this into the biblical lake of fire and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. And then, hey, when the dust settles, Yahushua, the Son of the Most High, along with the 144,000 of the elect of the nation of Israel, are going to come down from the chariots, which people ignorantly refer to as so-called UFOs, which that's another thing we've been seeing, an uptick in chariot sightings all across the planet. They're going to come down and they're going to start enslaving, the heathens that survive, beginning with the elites of the Edomites, so that they can build up the kingdom of heaven. But that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.